We're staying on top of breaking news. A home ripped apart as SWAT team members swarm a known nudist ranch. This is in connection to the case of a missing local couple. Police say a neighbor is a person of interest. We're live in the air and on the ground in Redlands. Hello, I'm Mark Brown. I'm in for David Ono and Ellen Leva. You're watching Eyewitness News at 6, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. We're following that breaking news. Police say foul play now suspected in the search for that elderly couple missing in Redlands. Dan and Stephanie Menard were last seen this weekend leaving their home. SWAT now using an armored machine they call the Rook to knock down the walls of the house near the missing couple's home. Again, here's what we know. SWAT has surrounded the nudist ranch where the couple lives. They are looking for a person of interest after a tip. Stephanie and Daniel Menard were last seen on Saturday, and police say they do suspect foul play. Chris Christie live over the scene now in Air 7 in Redlands. Chris?
Mark, as they have followed up on that tip, things have gone sideways here. You are looking at one of those armored vehicles that you saw just a moment ago that you mentioned. It is now back at work with a battering arm attempting to poke around in the property of the suspect. This is the person of interest who resides next to the couple's house, the missing couple, Dan and Stephanie Menard. That's their house right there. Right next door is a much smaller home with a trailer attached to it and a garage that is filled with garbage and just a heap of debris piled up to the ceiling of that garage. Now, somewhere in here, they are following up on that tip to find out who or what is inside of there, whether there's evidence or whether the person of interest is actually located or possibly hiding. Whatever the case may be, it'll be very interesting to see what they find as they continue this very, very interesting operation. Earlier, that vehicle that you're looking at right there, known as a tactical Rook that is used by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, approached the home, breached the front of the house with that battering arm, and literally sunk into the ground as an upper deck with an air conditioning unit crashed, tumbling on top of that vehicle, trapping the officer behind the wheel of that bulldozer. And now that bulldozer is back at work again. They are using that tactical vehicle to poke around this suspect's home. Reporting live from Air 7, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, really quick, Chris, can you tell whether the officers that are around the scene, are they still maintaining a kind of defensive posture? Do they still have guns pointed at the residents?
No, they don't. They basically have the closest officers a block away in either direction. We don't want to give away their position, but we do feel comfortable showing you this armored vehicle that is essentially encountering a whole lot of debris as it kind of tries to make its way through this mess here. Beyond that, we really don't know what their tactics are here. Again, the closest units are about a block away in either direction. Every time they come close, they do take up a defensive posture with their guns drawn, and that's what they did as they approached this vehicle earlier with the deputy who was trapped inside of it. Half of that vehicle right there, I think we have some videotape to show you from just about an hour ago, was literally sunk into the ground, and that vehicle was trapped with the operator inside the vehicle. They approached the vehicle with their guns drawn, again, very defensive posture, and then immediately towed the vehicle away. The Bearcat has left the scene. Those armored SWAT members are about a half a block to a block in either direction as this operator goes to work trying to find any evidence or people inside this property. Mark?
Chris Christie live in Air 7 HD. We want you to stay on station and keep an eye on things for us while we check in with Eyewitness News reporter Leticia Juarez. She's live at the scene and has been there for quite some time. We understand Redlands police have just held a press conference.
Yeah, they held a press conference just shortly after 5 o'clock where we learned a little bit more about what is happening here. But what we can tell you, and just speaking with the neighbors, they tell us that, you know, Dan and Stephanie Menard are beloved members of their community, and they have just been worried since the couple seemingly vanished without a trace. This afternoon, police swarmed the Olive Dale Ranch here on a tip that led them to a home right next door. Now, we were able to take a look from Air 7 as the SWAT team gathered right before they surrounded the home. Redlands police tell us that their officers did try to contact a person of interest in the couple's disappearance, and that led to a standoff. Now, a Riverside County Sheriff's SWAT vehicle known as a Rook, which you mentioned, was brought in when it appeared that the suspect was not responding to commands to come out of the home. And that's when you saw there that vehicle there was used to basically tear the wall off the home so that they could try to look and see if that person of interest was in there. We then heard from Carl Baker, who told us what was happening next with that.
We are using remote equipment to conduct a search currently. We have not yet located anyone inside. We don't know where the subject is. He may still be inside, or he may be somewhere else on the grounds.
Now, we asked police if they had surrounded the area, and they said they had surrounded the area earlier before going into that standoff. So if that person of interest, they believe, is possibly still there, and they are going to be searching for him. Investigators say that they were led to the ranch this morning on a tip, and that led them to the Menards' next door neighbor, who they identified as that person of interest. They say based on the time that the Menards have been missing and information gathered from that tipster, that foul play may be involved. You know, on Sunday, concerned friends reported the Menards missing to police. They were last seen leaving their home with their dog Cuddles. Their vehicle was later found abandoned not far from their residence. The couple's cell phones and Menards' purse were also found in their home. Friends tell Eyewitness News that because the Menards are in their 70s and they also have some health issues, they don't believe they could have gone far. Now, we're told by police that around 7 o'clock they will have another update for us, but right now it's still a very active scene. Right now they're gathering evidence in that home for any sign of where the Menards might possibly be. We'll try to get that information when we get it and bring it to you.
All right, Leticia Juarez, thank you for that live report.